Welcome back. You're with me, Brian, and we're now going to once again do a brief overview, have a look at some of the highlights of items that we have been cataloging this past week. Let's start here now with this early 18th century Dutch imprint in what appears to be a contemporary binding. It is by Vondel here, Joost van Vondel, and here is the engraved half title, 1707, Amersfoort is the title page. There are more than a dozen engravings within, including, for instance, I'll set the book down and hold the cover, this folding engraved plate like so. Really well done engravings, actually. And this fine panoramic bird's eye view here of this historical execution event of Oldenbarneveld. And the most interesting image from our perspective here today is this very scarce. It's very difficult to do this with, there we are, I've got the covers supported. Right, this very fine engraved plate with this overlay, which is a transformation overlay, meaning that when the flap is lifted, the scene changes. These types of transformation optical illusions with printed books are always very desirable. They're scarce and few and far between. And so next we have this 19th century Baden-Baden Spa souvenir photographic album with mounted albumen photographic images to this heavy cardstock backing boards that are lettered. The binding itself is splitting on the accordion style because it's oblong. This type of split happens very regularly with these sorts of books. The weight of each plate exceeds the ability of the paper to hold it over time, so that has separated, meaning the text block here is in two parts, but that's really a trivial thing. That's so easy to fix if desired. We've just cataloged these Malay maps, for instance. There's Iceland, California as an island, Constantinople, Moscow, and actually many others. Here are a pair of Century magazines from the late 19th century we're going to offer as a pair. They're profusely illustrated, both of them just like this, with hundreds, potentially over 1,000 images and engravings within. This each volume is 6 months. This is 1887. Each volume has an index, a very detailed index at the front for authors, as well as, I believe, for all the different sorts of, yes, in its day, Century hired or employed or took on commission from a wide range of some of the most prominent and popular authors, like there's Ruskin, Longfellow, I think, at this point. In this volume here, there's also maps within these. These are hours and hours worth of browsing pleasure. This is 1887 through 1888, and again, a profusion of images. Next, we have this nice 19th century book, Dickens' Mutual Friend, Our Mutual Friend, and Great Expectations, bound into this oversized, beautiful marbled book with a wood engraved frontis, like so. And we see there are 58 wood engravings by Mahoney, 1875. The text is in 2 columns divided by a rule, and then bound further on, after that story ends, is Great Expectations, 1876, 30 illustrations by a different illustrator, Fraser, like so. And well-preserved, clean, tight, and sound is this book. Frank Leslie's was a direct competitor to Harper's Weekly in his day. He was quite an entrepreneur and published quite a variety of different periodicals. This is 6 months, 1880, of his very scarce Sunday magazine. Here is an index to the literature that's found within. Here is an index. Look at this list of illustrations, hundreds of them. As you'll see here now, just a profusion. And what's interesting here is the richness of the images, the darkness of the printing. Hours of browsing here. Next is this monumental, tall, heavy volume. 3 specific English cathedrals are covered, and it's in this period, very nice binding, marbled end papers like so. Okay, handmade paper throughout. Profusion of these very nice engraved plates. It was originally issued by Britain in 6 volumes, but each volume does stand alone, and this volume has 3 separate cathedral works in it. The first one is Winchester, like so. Here is the title page, 1817, and we see the engravings are very well done. They are often cross sections. There are views and plans and elevations. There are facades. There is a profusion of these. Very well done, all signed by the engraver. And so it goes all throughout. If I flip through it, it'll give you some sense. There are wide margins, okay? And here we are, yes, very nice series. And as I said, each cathedral is complete unto itself for the description. This is partially unopened, this kind of paper here, and here of course is Oxford, and so there it gives you some rough idea. The final book that we will look at in our brief overview, we could go on and I could show you all of this, but we're going to run out of time and your patience probably. This is a beautiful book on the west coast of the United States. The reason I'm showing this is it's not your typical Stoddard, which is in those inexpensive leather bindings, which are also attractive enough in their own way. But this particular one is a limited edition. It's one of 500 copies. It is the autograph edition. It has an original etching as a frontis with tissue guard. The work was issued in 10 volumes with some supplemental volumes, but each volume, for the areas that they cover, are complete unto themselves. So while it is part of a larger set, each volume covers different areas, and there really is no connection between the volumes other than the author and the theme of photographic travel, because this is the quintessential armchair travel sort of book of the 19th century and early 20th century. Just a profusion of hundreds of images of these locations in California and the Grand Canyon and so on. I'd like to go on because there's this roadmap item here, which we'll be cataloging next week. There's this diary coming up very soon with this flap. It's a Civil War era diary, I do believe, yes, 1865, with various entries throughout. We'll be cataloging that very soon. Here's another nice autograph album that's coming up very soon. And so there we go for now. Thanks for watching. Be back with you real soon, and talk to you soon.